Today, we're talking all about getting video going, getting it started, getting out of your own way, and optimizing video for social media platforms and YouTube. It's a wonderful conversation that really spans a wide variety of video topics and how to approach the way that you create video. I know that you're going to find this episode so helpful because Atiba, who is my guest today, is just an incredible wealth of knowledge on this topic. I learned a lot from this episode, and I know that you will too. And I really hope that you give it a listen. Even if you're not in a place where you're ready to start creating video, this is going to give you the framework for how to get things set up, how to get started, what to pay attention to, and how to make the most of the content that you're creating. So Atiba de Souza is the video content superman who was killing search engine optimization, SEO, before the term was even invented. Using a unique method of blending storytelling with search keywords for more than 15 years, he has ranked regional and national brands in the US on page 1 of Google. Atiba is an award-winning marketer who has been featured on many renowned platforms, including Traffic and Conversion Summit, Affiliate Meets Market, Founders Board, Digital Marketer, Fox, and USA Today, as well as top-tier podcasts like Marketing Inc. podcast by Allie Bloyd, Digital Marketer podcast, and Chasing Insights by Vince Warnock. When he's not geeking out on the latest SEO principles and AI trends, Atiba is a man of God, husband, father, and IG food influencer in the Washington, D.C. area. I am telling you, you are going to want to listen to this episode. It's a fantastic just strategy planning, and I just really think it's going to resonate and get you going when it comes to your marketing with video and content creation in general. So before we get into this episode, it is brought to you by our April freebie. This month is all about video, and so our freebie is as well. So if you want more ideas for how to create video content to steward your donors and build deeper relationships with them once they've already given, then you'll want to grab this guide. It gives you 10 video ideas to stay connected with your donors, some that are pre-recorded, some that are live, some that are group, some that are one-on-one. But I really think that you'll find it valuable when it comes to creating video content to engage with your existing donors so they keep coming back. You can grab this freebie at thefirstclick.net/resources. So again, thefirstclick.net/resources. If you have any other freebies that you want to grab, you can also snag them there. We have all sorts of topics that we're covering. Every single month has a new freebie. For now, let's get into the episode. You're listening to the Digital Marketing Therapy Podcast. I'm your host, Sammy Bedell-Mulhern. Each month, we dive deep into a digital marketing or fundraising strategy that you can implement in your organization. Each week, you'll hear from guest experts, nonprofits, and myself on best practices, tips, and resources to help you raise more money online and reach your organizational goals. Hey friends, so today I have a special guest today, and this is not the first time that we have recorded this podcast episode. We love to do these on video. We had some hiccups last time, like I pronounced his name incorrectly. My guest, Atiba de Souza, I called him Souza. We learned that Atiba doesn't know how to count to 3 with his fingers. He can't count to 2. He only counts to 3. And the biggest mistake of it all is that I never actually hit record. So we are doing this again. I am so grateful for his patience. But I would love to welcome Atiba to the show. Atiba, thank you for being here again.
You know what? Thank you. And it's beautiful to be here with you again. We get to do this all again. We get to clean up the mistakes that we made the first time, and we get to make new mistakes this time. And I gotta tell you, for everyone who's listening, about the integrity here, because we did make mistakes and we could have just kind of laughed it off and never talked about it, but you started the show with it, and I love it.
Well, I mean, I think for me, that's the biggest hurdle. You just got to get going and get started. And, even professionals make mistakes. And I know I always feel better in a good way when I see people farther ahead of me making mistakes. It makes me feel more open and willing to kind of jump right in. So we're going to be real. But
that's a huge point to make too for everyone who's listening. And if you're listening to us right now and you're terrified of content in any form, okay, whether that's writing a simple social post or jumping on video and creating a webinar and anything in between or standing on a stage, if you're afraid of content because you're afraid of what if I make a mistake and the judgment that someone will have because of it, understand too, error is human. And if someone can't forgive you for your error, you don't want them in your world.
Yes, I love that. And I agree 1,000%. I agree. But we're talking video content today, and I'm so excited
Yes.
are the video experts. So before we kind of jump into some of your strategies and tools and ways to kind of continue this conversation about just getting out there and getting started, I would love for you to just kind of share why video is something we can't avoid, like why it is
Yeah.
now just something that needs to be part of our marketing efforts.
Yeah. So a lot has changed in the last 7 years. Okay. Especially here in the US, but really worldwide. We've gone through interesting political campaigns. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. Okay. We've gone through a pandemic. Doesn't matter what side of the fence you're on. Everyone is upset. And
Yeah.
everyone is upset because everyone has felt like someone lied to me. Somewhere I got misinformation. I got bad information, or someone is watching. We also have all of the privacy stuff going on, all the data breach stuff going on, people using your information in nefarious ways. Okay. And we've all gotten to a place where we're a little bit hesitant about Big Brother and big companies that we don't know and what are they really doing, which has led us to a place where we want to connect with people more. That's one side. The other side is what happened in the pandemic. We all were stuck at home. And while we were stuck at home, we all turned to our phones, we pulled them all out, and we started watching more and more video. That has created now what is, Sammy, the perfect storm for us as small business owners to recognize that the best way to connect with our ideal customer, because this is what they want. They want to connect with you and they want to know you before they buy from you, is through video. There is no medium that allows you to connect one-on-one with someone like video. I mean, listen, you're listening to me, watching me right now. If you were just reading the words that I'm saying, you couldn't hear my inflections. You couldn't hear the passion. You couldn't feel the energy. It would just be words on a page.
Mm-hmm.
But getting it over video takes you to a whole new level of connection that you cannot achieve in any other way other than being in person with someone.
That's such a good explanation. And I think not a way that I've kind of heard that framed before, which I think is great. But also to kind of add on to that is the beauty of this is how we can emotionally connect with people. And technology has made it so much easier for anybody to create videos. So the kind of it's not as expensive as it used to be. You don't have to have a crazy setup. You don't have to have perfect everything. That connection piece is different. So if we're nervous about getting started, kind of where would you encourage people to start? Like, how good do our videos need to look? How perfect do they need to be?
Yeah, it's a really great question. And it's one of the real barriers that people have to entry. And you're probably listening to us saying, yeah, because I go to the movie theater and I watch stuff on the silver screen, or I see the newscasters on the news at night, or I watch late night TV, or I watch, sitcoms or whatever. Okay, yeah. That's not what your customers are looking for. Okay? Your customers aren't coming to you to be entertained. And that's one type of production that exists, the silver screen. It's about entertainment, yes. If you actually saw what they created, there was a lot of screw ups in order to get to what was actually put out. But what your customer wants is you, the authentic you. If you stutter, they want to know that. If you have perfect diction, they want to know that. If you take long, awkward pauses like I do, they want to know that. Okay? Because they want to know you. They want to know you. And that's one of the biggest hurdles in your mind to get over, is that you cannot compare yourself to what's out there. The only thing that you can ever compare yourself to when you're creating content is who you were yesterday. Am I creating content better today than I was yesterday? That's the only comparison that matters. The only one.
Yeah, because I think especially with short form content, TikTok and YouTube Shorts and all of that stuff, I think at least for me, a lot of times I'm watching those and I have a hard time thinking about how am I going to turn this into, like, how am I going to duplicate this and replicate this and try to make it go viral? Like, I think to your point, like getting out of that mindset and just when something strikes you, go for it, make it your own. But, you know, also the trends became trends because somebody put themselves out there as themselves and
Yeah.
it connected emotionally with people.
Yeah. So let's deal with that term, that V word that you used just now. Okay. Um, Listen, y'all, truthfully. So I have a friend of mine, and she's actually an expert at helping people go viral. Okay. That's her entire business. Is she helps you create viral content. And she's very, very, very good at it. One of the best I've ever seen. And I remember talking to her about it. We sat down, we were talking about this whole concept of viral. And she said, listen, the thing that people have to understand is I am an expert at helping brands go viral. And at best, 1 out of every 50 posts I create will go viral.
Yeah.
And she's one of the best in the world. Going viral, what's the point? Okay, yes, I know you get the dopamine hit and it feels great and everybody loves me, but guess what? Did the cash register ring? Did it? Because if it didn't, it was worthless. I have a client. We put out. She's been working with us for about 12 months. One of the first videos we did for her, we weren't trying to, but one of the first videos we did for her went viral. Got over 52,000 views, like that, right? And she was all excited. The rest of her videos are averaging about 2,500. And she's freaking out. Why can't all of them be like, that's not the way it works. And then when we tracked the metrics, that one that got 52,000 views yielded her $0. So why do you want to duplicate that?
Yeah. It's so true. And I think it comes from tracking the data, like you said, and understanding understanding the end result. The episode we just launched about video also, you know, that was his tip too. Like when you're starting to create new content, start with the end in mind. What is the end goal that we want to achieve? What are we trying to do? Because otherwise it's vanity metrics. So I love that. So let's take this a step further then. If we are now we're creating content, we're in the mix, we're excited, we're having fun with it, we're tracking our data, we're kind of growing. How can we then continue to up level and continue to make the most of our video? Like, how do we optimize to get the most amount of views possible while we're also tracking that the content is resonating with our audience and kind of driving those results?
Yeah. So one of the first things to understand is the size of your addressable market. Okay. So for example, if you're a coffee shop in a town and that town has 30,000 people, all 30,000 of those people don't drink coffee.
Yep.
All 30,000 of those people may not even drink your type of coffee. You may be an upscale coffee shop and there's 7-Eleven drinkers. So in that 30,000, you may only be reaching 4,000 people as your addressable market. Okay. And so first is understanding that. So you have realistic expectations of what you're trying to achieve and attain. Again, who you're trying to reach. The next thing is, and this is one of the places that I find that people miss with video especially, is if we're talking YouTube and you've got a YouTube channel and you're sending out emails, why don't you have a link to your email, in your email to your YouTube channel? Simple thing that you can do that will help increase. Why aren't you looking? You spent the time to create this video. You're sending emails. Why aren't you talking about the video that you just created in the emails that you're sending out? Okay. Everyone wants to think, oh, I need to repurpose it. I need to cut it up and I need to put it on other socials. Yeah. That's all true. That is all true. But you've got some really basic fundamental things like email that you're ignoring today that will get you really, really great results. And if you're sitting here and you're listening to me and you're saying, but Atiba, I don't send emails. Well, guess what? I just gave you the perfect stuff to send emails about. Okay? Send the emails about those videos that you just did. Tell people what you're talking about.
And even if you're not creating a ton of new content now, like if you have, I think if you have video content that's evergreen, like even repurposing and resharing that content, if every time at the same time of year, it's National Adoption Month or whatever, and you have this great video on adoption, like reshare it. So like you can repurpose without actually having to do any extra work. I think we tend to forget that people haven't watched it or they didn't watch the whole thing. Or every time you hear it, if you hear or watch this podcast again, you're going to hear something different than what you heard last time you listened to it.
Absolutely. Without question. And that's now when we start getting in and looking at all of your different channels. So yes, we just talked about email. Yes, use it on the other channels as well. Cut it up, put it out, talk about what you've done and tell people, hey, go watch it. Now, it's very important that you understand the channel rules. Mm-hmm. Okay. So like LinkedIn and Facebook, don't put the link to the video in the post, put it in the first comment. Whereas Instagram, you can't put links on there, no way. Right. And so it is very important. And I love the people who put the link in their Instagram post and it's not clickable and it's this long, ridiculous link. And it's just like, what is someone supposed to do with that?
Looks messy. And they're on their phone, so they're not going to like copy and paste it and put it in the browser.
Right. Yep. And so understand the channel that you're on in terms of how to share on there. But definitely you want to do those things. Heck, if you're out, if you have a brick and mortar, aren't you talking about your YouTube channel in your brick and mortar? Put up a QR code in there as well. Okay, these are all ways that you can get the people that you actually want watching your video. And this is key, especially when we're talking about YouTube. You want the people who are actually going to buy from you to watch your video. Here's why. See, what YouTube does is if X number of people, this small group of people watch your video and watch the majority of your video or some percentage of your video, YouTube says, those people liked it. Can I find more people like them? Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's find more people like them and show it to those people. And did those people also watch it that way? Okay, now we know who watches this video. What happens though, when you try to go viral or you buy one of those services that get you views on your videos, sure, they get you views. Sure, it feels good and it looks good. But now you've got people who are watching the video who aren't your ideal audience. And then YouTube goes out and finds more people like them. And that next set of people, they don't watch your video. And YouTube says, oh, that was just an anomaly.
Yeah.
And you're actually hurting yourself more than you are actually helping yourself.
Yeah, I think that authenticity is true. And I think going back to the vanity metrics that we were talking about earlier in the episode, like, yeah, it makes you feel really good to know that more people watched your video. But what is it actually doing for your business and making sure that effort goes into it? So I think that's fantastic. I guess for me, the optimization around video too, with the action we want people to take, is being really clear about the call to action that you want them to do. So like, for example, for our podcast, we have a new lead magnet that's out every single month. That is our call to action. We're kind of tracking how many downloads are we getting of that free lead magnet each month to kind of understand the content that we're creating and what our audience really cares about, right? So we can get physical, tangible data. So how important is that call to action? How many calls to action should be in a video, and where in the video, or how often should we kind of talk about that action to try to get people to do what we want them to do?
Oh, that's a beautiful question. Okay. Y'all aren't going to like my answer. Okay. And let me just start by saying that, because what I'm going to tell you right now is what you hear the word call to action and you think about, I'm getting a lead or I'm making money. And I'm going to tell you that's wrong. Okay. So let me back up and let's talk content strategy for a moment. So, because content strategy ties directly into your call to action, and understanding in content strategy that what you want to do is move people through a journey. Okay. There is a journey that everyone takes to becoming your customer, and your content needs to help them move through that journey. That being said, it should also spark in your mind that if it's a journey, that means that not at every point in this journey are they ready to buy. Not at every point in this journey are they ready to give you their email address.
Yeah.
It's just a fact. And so we break it out into three categories. We call it why, how, what. And so we bucket content into these three categories, and each category has its own type of CTA. Okay. So the why content, this is the bigger philosophical content that talks about values and what I value and what you value. Now, if you're just creating a podcast, we'll get to that one and where that fits and why what you're doing is right with podcast land. We're not talking about video content on YouTube or social content on any of the other platforms. Okay. So you're creating why content, and that why content is all philosophical values. I value this, you value this, we value the same thing. This is why solving this problem is important. This is why it matters to the world. This is what it's going to change. This is what we believe. On that content, on your why content, you want people to react to it.
Yeah.
You want people to like it. Yeah, will they comment? Yeah, they may. You can even ask them questions to get them to comment. And their comments may be, yeah, or I'm in, or, little things like that. It may be 5, 6 words, 2 words, short things. Okay, that's your why content. And if that's what you're getting there, and you're going to get most of your interaction on your why content, that's great. Your why content is also designed to divide your audience. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, your why content should be polarizing. So that people who believe like you say, yeah, I'm in, I want to keep following you. People who don't believe like you say, you know what? I'm going to stop following you. Because that's also what you want. You want them to go away. If they're not your people, tell them bye. It's okay. Right? Let me break that down. Let's say you sold spaghetti red sauce. That was your business. You had that's all you did. You sold different forms of spaghetti red sauce, tomato-based sauce, right? A why piece of content would be white sauce or red sauce. Which is your favorite? Well, the people who respond to that and say red sauce, that's your audience. The people who say white sauce, not your audience. You don't sell white sauce. Okay? So it can be that simple. It doesn't have to be super heavy. It can be fun. Okay? That's your why content. CTAs, again, are like it, short comments. That's what you're measuring. Okay? Then your how content. Your how content is really giving someone some steps to something. So maybe it's how to turn this particular red sauce that you make into turn that into the sauce for a lasagna. And so maybe it's a recipe. Okay. Now, with your how content, fewer people are going to consume your how content. And now you want to start to build engagement. In your how content, you want to then ask them questions that then get them to give you 2 to 3 sentence answers. Okay? You want a little bit more engagement. They may save your post depending on the platform they're on. They may share the post depending on the platform they're on. Okay? So you give them a little bit more there. That's your how content. Then your what content. Your what content is when you start to ask the question, would you like my help with this? That's your true traditional CTA. Leave the platform, come give me your email address or come buy something from me. That's the CTA world that we build for our clients. And that's how we see the journey through. Because you see, in this journey, when someone has said, yeah, I'm a red saucer, and oh man, you know what? Yeah, that's a good recipe for that sauce. Yeah, that's awesome. I can make some lasagna.
Mm.
And then you sell them the lasagna making kit.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
Right? Then they're all bought in with you. But right now, you're just trying to push a lasagna making kit and wondering why nobody's want to buy it. And everybody there loves Alfredo sauce. Like, that's why.
Yep. Such a great way to break it down, because I think we tend to talk in technical terms when we're talking the same strategy of that, what's the problem you solve, and are they problem aware and all. So you might have heard the language around that. And I think that the way that you broke this down was perfect. And so the last question I'll ask you kind of about this, and I really love that you mentioned, like, let's allow people to select themselves away from us, because we're terrified about that, especially as nonprofits. We think every donor is a donor for us. So I think this process is great. But when we think about our overall video strategy, like, how do we kind of determine how many videos we should be creating in each of those categories?
Yes. Okay. So I'm going to work you backwards. Okay. Especially in the nonprofit world, where you got to raise donations, you're tempted to create lots of what videos because you want them to give money. And I'm going to tell you, not more than 15% of your content should be what? 15%. 15% should be how, and at least 70% in why.
Mm-hmm.
You see, especially in the nonprofit world, you have to align with this person's values and why they want to give and why they want to be a part of. It has to be bigger than just the transaction right now. It has to be bigger than just it's like I just saw this from another nonprofit that was advertising to me, and they were like, yeah, we need $500 and it's tax deductible. I'm like, I'm not in it for the tax deduction.
Yeah. You missed my value. Yeah. And my motivation.
Okay. Like, yeah, that's not why I'm here. And so, but now for some people, it might be. But that's, again, in your why content. So you would have created why content around why it's so important for us to get together and support. I'm just making this up. This group of women who are doing this particular thing that we need to support, or these children that need our help. And then there may have been one piece of content that you created in the why too that, hey, and it's also tax deductible. Cool.
Right.
Right. So I'm not saying to ignore that, but understand now and you talked about problem aware and solution aware, right? How many of us are problem aware that we need to support others? Like, that's a big thing. And so we're not problem aware. So in that case, we have to spend more time in educating on the why and getting into, you care about this thing. This thing is important to you. It's important to us too.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think when you talk about the self-selection, like, let's say you support people with cancer, that looks like a whole lot of different things. So we don't need to target everybody that cares about cancer. We want to target the people that care about the fact that we go in and create meals and feed the families and support the families that are going through treatment, versus we're doing research, versus we're providing transportation, right? So, like, that's helping with that self-selection and helping to create the videos. And the other thing that just sparked for me with what you just said also is, when you create those shorter videos that are very specific to someone's motivation, now a great way to repurpose those is those individual emails. It's like, hey, thank you so much for that great meeting we had. We created this video that I think would really show you about this part of the program that really works for you. So, like, you've put it out on social media, but then now you're creating also all these assets that you can utilize for further conversations in one-on-one situations.
Yes. And so you just picked up on the big ding, 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 right? Because the reality there, it's a journey. It's a journey. And so in that why, how, what, which also translates into know, like, and trust. Okay. Let me just say this to you bluntly. Okay. For you who are listening right now, I want to say this very, very bluntly. Okay. If you have a call with a potential donor and that call ends and they did not donate, it's because you failed to build trust. Flat out. Because no one will buy anything from someone they don't trust. So the fact that they didn't buy from you says they didn't trust you. Now, that's not to make you feel bad. The point here is the recognition of it. That, okay, you didn't trust me. Now, let me go back and listen to what you actually told me and figure out what it is that you care about and where was the gap in the trust? I already have content that speaks to all of that. Now I've got a follow-up series for you. And that's the big ding, ding, ding right there.
That's beautiful. I think that is we could talk about this stuff forever and ever and ever, but we want you to take action. We want you to get excited about video. We want you to get motivated to start creating some things. You already just said a great piece of advice, but if there was something else that you maybe would want to leave listeners with regards to just getting going with video and making the most of it, what would you share?
Your first 10 videos are going to suck.
Yes.
Real talk. So do them. Get it out the way. Get it out the way as fast as possible. It's just reality for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
But you got to go through them in order to get to the place where you're producing great videos. And truthfully, you'll hit a rhythm around 30. So just know I got to get through the first 10. Oof, got through the first 10. Now do 20 more. Get through that first 30, and then the rhythm will start. You'll have the muscle memory, and you'll be able to see the incremental you getting better and better and better and better and better. But you got to get through it.
And you have to
get through it.
Post those 10 videos, even though,
yes.
Right? It's not just about doing 10 videos in the corner of your basement and saying, okay, well, now I've got the muscle building and now I can start posting. You got to start posting those videos.
Yes. I did neglect to say that. And Tammy's right. It isn't just about recording it and keeping it on your hard drive. You've got to do them and post them. I've been creating videos since 2007. I still don't watch my own videos.
I don't listen to my podcast episodes.
Create it, post it, don't watch it, don't worry about it.
I love that. Well, Atiba, if people want to learn more about you and connect with you and kind of the way that you support clients and folks, how can they do that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've probably opened up a ton of questions for you today, more than we actually answered, right? Especially in terms of marketing and video. And I want to answer those questions for you. So go to meetatiba.com. That's meet, A-T-I, B as in boy, A.com. That's going to take you directly to my LinkedIn. When you get to my LinkedIn, don't hit the follow button, hit the connect button. Connect with me. It will allow you to send me a message. Tell me you saw me in this. Speak clearly. See, we can mess up too. Yeah. Tell me you saw me on the show with Sammy and ask me your question. I want to connect with you one-on-one and answer your questions.
I love that. And we will have all of those linked up in the show notes at thefirstclick.net/254. So if you're out and about and you didn't grab that, you can definitely get that there. Well, Atiba, again, thank you so much for your grace in my mistake in not hitting the right record button. Glad we got to make this work. It was a wonderful conversation, and I can't wait to just learn more from you.
Well, thank you. And I can't wait till version 3 of this that we will record.
Okay, so my brain is buzzing with so many ideas for breaking down content, how to create those content themes. We can go back to our first episode of this month to kind of come up with some specific content ideas. We talk about some of that and then putting them into the buckets that Atiba mentioned here in this episode. You can also go back to some of the other episodes and learn about storytelling and how we're going to create and craft those messages and the use of calls to action. So lots of good stuff to kind of all pull together when it comes to your video marketing strategy. So for now, I hope that you will check out the show notes for this episode at thefirstclick.net/254. You can grab all of the links and resources that were mentioned in today's episode. Thank you so much for listening. Please make sure you subscribe where you listen or watch on YouTube. This is one you might want to watch on YouTube because Atiba is pretty dynamic. But share with a friend that could use this as well. And thank you so much for taking the time to listen. I really do appreciate you and all of the work that you're doing. For now, I'll see you in the next one.